You have been chosen. All right, here we go. Clifford Bey. Man, listen up. Reparations about to come tenfold, man. It better. It better. So this one, right, this video is about how to receive rent for free and housing. Free rent. You're we living rent free, you're all right, so peep game, man. Now, in order to understand this, you gotta understand how to maintain your sovereignty, right? You got to prepare to defend your sovereignty, right? And you also got to understand the income tax laws, which I, I made that video too as well. So please understand those before you even proceed with this process, all right? And it's best if you know some procedures, civil rules of procedures, criminal rules of procedures, you know, federal rules of procedures, federal rules of evidence. You know, man, you better lock in and do your research and study, all right? Cause we about to be living rent free out this motherfucker, like we supposed to, right? Right? You know, I was gonna start here, but you know what? I gotta start at House J. Hold on, what is it? 1 second. Hold on. All right, here we go, right? 1933 House Joint Resolution of 192, right? This coincides with the Bankruptcy Act of 1933 because of what happened with the stock market crash in 1929, all right? So this is where it started. So this is why I gotta take you, right? So I'm gonna read this whole thing right quick, all right? To assure uniform value to the coins and uh, currencies of the United States, whereas the holding of or dealing in gold affect the public interest and are therefore subject to the proper regulation and restriction. All right, so I'm gonna pause it right quick, right? Let me interject right quick. So, under Article 1, Section 10, right? This is what it says. States cannot make anything but gold and silver coin attendant in payments of debts, right? So we only could pay in gold or silver before the stock market crash. But however, what this document is saying, this type of payment, right? This type of payment, right? Whereas the holding of or dealing in gold affect the public interest and are therefore subject to proper regulation and restriction. So there wasn't enough gold to circulate, right? So they had to regulate it. That's why they abolished the gold. That was the only way they could regulate it, so called, whatever. And whereas the existing emergency has disclosed that provisions of obligations which purport to give the obligee a right to require payment in gold or a particular kind of coin or currency of the United States or in an amount in money of the United States measured thereby, obstruct the power of the Congress to regulate the value of the money of the United States and are inconsistent with the declared policy of the Congress to maintain at all times the equal power of every dollar coined or issued by the United States and the markets and the payments of debts. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representation of the United States of America and Congress assembled that every provision contained in or made with respect to any obligation which purports to give the obligee a right to require payment in gold or a particular kind of coin or currency or in an amount and money of the United States measured thereby is declared to be against public policy. So, due to the fact that, what was happening in the early 1920s and all that, we had a war, right? What else? We had the Harlem Renaissance. Who was doing good? Who was banking? Who was flashing and all that, right? Was it? You know what? That's why this was probably the reason. uh this was probably part of the reason why Oklahoma Tulsa, got what it got, because most of the gold was in the hands of a certain particular type of people, right? Yeah. So, I ain't even gonna say that. Let's keep it. Let's continue, because I could be wrong. But all I do know, things was booming. It was a renaissance in the 1920s. A lot of people was hating. All right, but let me continue, right? Because this is not about a particular people. This is about the collective, right? It doesn't matter what nationality you are, right? This right here is going to help everybody out, all right? All right. So it became against public policy, right, to demand gold, right? All right, let me continue. All right, where I left off at, right? Policy. And no such provision shall be contained and or made with respect to any obligation hereafter incurred. So anybody demanding gold, right? They wasn't allowed to demand gold. It was against public policy. And anybody uh, that tried to, uh, what it says, right? And no such provision shall be contained in or made with respect to any obligation. So no one could make a law, making the demand for gold an obligation hereafter, right? Every obligation heretofore or hereafter incurred, whether or not any such provision is contained therein or made with respect thereto, shall be discharged upon payment, dollar for dollar, in any coin or currency which at the time of payment is legal tender. So now, legal tender, right? Anything that's legal tender, we could pay debts with, right? For public and private debts, all right? But however, whatever is legal tender, right? It's a promise to pay, and it's offered a full faith and credit of the people, right? So this legal tender is not money, it's a promise to pay. So the dollars, the Federal Reserve notes, or whatever coins there are, is not backed by real money, it's backed by the full faith and credit of the people, right? And these obligations, right, are obligations of the United States. It's not of the people, right? Because we lend in our full faith and credit to the United States government, right? So they could pay the bills, right? Our full faith and credit is backing his money, so everything is already paid for the people now, right? Because it's off of our full faith and credit. our credit is paying for everything, right? Let me bring you to a law now, right? Which will back this up. Two laws, actually, right? Let's see. 18, right? Is it 18? No, it's not 18. Alright, dang. Alright, 18 USC, obligation of the United States. Alright, where we at? Alright, 18 USC 8. Alright, let's go there. Alright, let me see. Right? So, obligation or other security of the United States defined. The term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness. A Federal Reserve note is a certificate of indebtedness, right? National bank currency, Federal Reserve notes right here. It's still, yeah, evidence of, actually, it's probably evidence of a debt. Federal Reserve banknotes, coupons, United States Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposits, bills, checks, or drafts for money drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps and other representatives of value of whatever denomination issued under any act of Congress and canceled United States stamps. All right. So obligations of the United States includes all this, right? It includes all this. Now, certificates of indebtedness will be like a letter stating that you owe or something like that, I believe. So, all right, let's go to another law, right? If I can find it. Hold on. All right. Declaration of Policy and Public Housing Agency, right? It is the policy of the United States to promote the general welfare of the nation by employing the funds and credit of the nation. Who funds their employing? Right? By employing the funds and credit of the nation to assist states and political subdivision of states. Now, this is where it gets crazy, right? But I'm gonna get back to this in a second. Let's get back to the House Joint Resolution, right? Let's get back to that real quick. All right, bang, right? Dollar for dollar. Every obligation hereto for or hereafter incur, whether or not any such provision is contained therein or made with respect thereto, shall be discharged upon payment, dollar for dollar, in any coin or currency which at the time of payment is legal tender for public and private debts. Any such provisions contained in any law authorizing obligations to be issued by or under authority of the United States is hereby repealed. But the repeal of any such provision shall not invalidate any other provision or authority contained in such law. As used in this resolution, the term obligation means an obligation, including every obligation of and to the United States, accepting currency payable in money of the United States. And the term coin or currency means coin or currency of the United States, including Federal Reserve notes, and circulating notes of the Federal Reserve banks and national banking associations, right? The last sentence of paragraph 1 of subsection B of section 48 of the Act entitled An Act to Relieve the Existing National Economic Emergency by Increasing Agricultural Purchasing Power to raise revenue for extraordinary expenses incurred by reason of such emergency, to provide emergency relief with respect to agriculture indebtedness, to provide for the orderly liquidation of joint stock, land banks, and for other purposes approved. All coins and currencies of the United States, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of Federal Reserve banks and national banking associations heretofore or hereafter coined or issued, shall be legal tender for all debts, public and private, public charges, taxes, duties, and dues, except that gold coins, when below the standard weight limit, and yeah, blah, 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 right? So, with this being said, right, the legal tender is an obligation, right, of the United States. Federal Reserve notes, obligation of the United States, right, or any type of coins or currency that could be considered payable is an obligation of the United States, right? But like I said, it's backed up by the full faith and credit of the people, all right? That's what you need to know. That's why they created the Social Security Trust right after. And who is the sole beneficiary to your name? Who benefits off of your Social Security card? Remember, your Social Security card is not an identity document, right? I believe I already proved that, right? RM, right? Right here, the Social Security card is not an identification document, right? So, with that being said, right, as well as the Social Security card under consumer law, right, 15 USC 1602, right, under consumer law is considered a credit card, right? The term credit card means any card, plate, coupon, or book or other credit device existing for the purpose of obtaining money, property, labor, or services on credit, right? So with that being said, yes, is backed by the full faith, the legal tender, right, is backed by the full faith and credit of the nation, right? And we are beneficiaries of all the programs, right? So we ain't got to pay for nothing, right? But here's the issue and here's the problem, right? Here's what the all right, well, hold on. Here's what the Fifth Amendment says, right? No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, right? Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, right? Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. This is what we're talking about here. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation, right? So when we go back to this title, right, this is their declaration. This is what Congress is declaring, right? Declaration of policy, right? under Title 42 U.S.C. Section 1437 to promote the general welfare of the nation by employing the funds and credit of the nation, as provided in this chapter, to assist states. Now, this state is a district state. This is a state of the public. This is not to union states. So that means they taking, right? They taking the funds and credits from the nation, which is the union states, right? And they provide an assistance to the public, which is the district states, right? Which is foreign to the union states. These states are foreign. That's in violation of the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, I mean, shit. I think we could sue. I think we could have a class action lawsuit. You feel me? We get these charters together. Reason why I say charters and not tribal organizations, none of that tribal where you gotta file documents with the government. A charter, you ain't gotta file a charter with a government, right? You just gotta declare the charter, create it. You gotta just create the charter and operate under that charter, right? Just like a private trust. But anyway, moving forward. So, with that being said, it's best that, this class action lawsuit, come ASAP. Whoever is listening to this video, do your studying and, form your own collective group and get stuff started. All right. So this is what it says, right? To promote the general welfare of the nation by employing the funds and credit of the nation. So technically, we don't owe nothing for housing because they using our funds and credit, right? So housing should be free, right? Rent should be free, which technically it is free, and I'm about to expose how it's free, right? So let's get to it. So, starting with rental payments, right? Families included, right? Dwelling units assisted under this chapter shall be rented only to families who are low-income families at the time of their initial uh, occupancy of such units. Reviews of family income shall be made pursuant to paragraph 6. All right. So, with that being said, right, pursuant to this chapter right here, or this section, housing, HUD, housing urban development, right, can only review family income, right? But technically, if you done watch my videos on income tax, you should know that you don't make income, right? But this is not about whether you make income. The only people required to report income is family, right? Reviews of family income, right, shall be made. It don't say nobody else. So if you don't fit the purview of this definition right here, then you are not required to report income even if you did make income, right? But since none of us make income, shit, we are all low income. We got low income. So we it doesn't matter if you have $1 million in the bank. If you could prove it's not income, right? Shit, you could get housing. You feel me? You should be if you got $100,000 job, right? You're making $100,000 a year, and you could prove that's not income by applying the law. You should be entitled to low income housing because it's low income housing, right? You got low income. You ain't got no income, so of course you low on income, right? So since they want to play these games, yeah, we can play these games too, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it correct. We're gonna do it right. It's gonna be lovely, all right? Reparations on the way. All right, peep game. Let's move forward. So under this section, if you could find another section within chapter 8, subchapter 1, right, where someone else is required to report income, please feel free to comment and let me know, all right? But to my knowledge, reviews of family income is only allowed. So we got to define what family means, all right? So let's go to that definition real quick, right? Bang, right? So under Title 42, United States Code, Section 3602, definitions, right? The term family includes a single individual, all right? So we already know, if you done followed the other videos, you already know what individual means, right? But for the sake of it, let's so individual is not defined in Title 42, especially not under the housing urban development laws, right? Or the low income housing laws. There's no definition for individual. But since they are a United States agency that keep records, we got to go to Title 5, right? Because all agencies under Title 5 are required to keep records, right? So the definitions under Title 5 applies to all agencies, all right? So let's go to Title 5, right? Right? Title 5, United States Code, Section 552A, records maintained on individuals, right? The term individual means a citizen of the United States or an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence. Now, I'm gonna let you know these laws or this process, I believe it's only for, how should I say, people who was born on this land, right? So I don't think immigrants could really do this process because I truly believe they probably are a part of that United States. They've been naturalized under that United States. However, we was born within the Union States. So that's why, they cannot usurp our rights as inhabitants. All right. We still have rights as inhabitants. All right. So with that being said, so individual means a citizen of the United States, but we got to define state, right? So state under this section is that let's see, chapter 5. Let's see real quick. Right here, general provisions, 500. Let me see, right? All right, state means a state, a territorial possession of the United States, including a commonwealth or the District of Columbia. Now, I believe in my last video. Hold on, what was the video? A commonwealth, including a commonwealth, right? Because some states are considered commonwealths, right? But just because they are considered commonwealths doesn't mean it's fully a commonwealth. It still have the status of a union state, and all union states are not commonwealths, right? So, let me commonwealth, all right? Commonwealth, right? An independent country or community, especially a democratic republic, right? Let's go further. Dang, bro, someone turn off my AI. I think AI was doing too much for me. AI was definitely doing too much. All right, Commonwealth meaning. Now let me see. Uh, can a union state? Hold on. Is a union state? Is a union state considered a commonwealth? All right, AI still popping. No, a union state is not automatically considered a commonwealth. While some states in the United States are officially called commonwealths, like Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, this is just a title and does not change their legal status as states, meaning there is no practical difference between a commonwealth state and any other state in the union, all right? So they are still considered all union states. So going back to this definition, right? A commonwealth do not means A commonwealth do not means a union state, all right? And this right here, this state is a capital S, so we already know this is a district state created out of Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2 of the United States Constitution, all right? So, can you be a United States citizen pursuant to this chapter? No, because the states defined in this chapter doesn't include the union states, all right? So individuals, right, under this title are not Union States citizens, and they are not United States citizens as well. All right, so going back, right, family, the word family doesn't apply to you, right? Because this does not include a Union state, right? An individual of a Union state, right? Now let's go right to state. Right? State means any of the several states. You see, that's the capital S, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, or any of the territories and possessions of the United States, which the states right here are really territories and possessions of the United States. See, they just try to trick people. So, right? If you understand in my video on how to maintain your sovereignty, you'll understand the difference between a foreign state and a state of the United States, right? Right here. So this state has a capital S, so we already know, you know, uh, it's definitely not of is the Union States is not included within the definition of this state, right? And just for visual purposes, we're gonna define a state. We're gonna find a state that includes, or a definition of state that includes the Union States. Once again, like I do on all my other videos, right? 12, right? CFR. All right, go right here. Definitions and rules of construction. And we're going to go all the way down to 26, right? State means any state. And as you can see, it's a lowercase, right? The District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and any territorial possession of the United States, which these will include the states with a capital S, right? But further, right? Further, when we look at this, right, we know that family includes a single individual, but it doesn't include a natural person or person here, right? Person is not defined as a natural person, right? It's not there's no natural person within this title. So, you know, citizens of a union state or a non-citizen United States national, we are natural persons. We are human beings, all right? So, this is very important to know. And don't let these state actors trick you out of your position to strip you of your immunities, all right? Because here's what it says, right? 42 USC 1983, right? Civil action for deprivation of rights. Every person who under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected to any citizen of the United States or other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable to the party injured, right? So by we filling out these applications, they're gonna ask you, are you an employer, right? No, they're gonna ask you for your employer, which you don't have an employer. They're gonna ask you your status as an employee. You're not an employee, right? They're gonna ask you for your income. Well, you don't make income, so you don't have income, and you're not required to report income, right? They're asking all these questions on these housing applications, right? So they could so these misnomers, right? These misapplications, because they're saying family income, right? Family income. They causing you to be subjected to such terms, right? Which will deprive you of your rights and privileges and immunities. Right? That's what you need to know. These applications that they give you is which they are causing you, right, to be subjected. Damn, I'm confused. Anyway, y'all understand, right? All right, moving forward. All right. So with that being said, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. Why not get some free housing, or help your family get some free housing? Why not? Right? Even if you're not a millionaire, even if you just, I mean, this applies to Section 8 too. I believe, because low income housing, right? What is it? Chapter 8 applies to Section 8 as well, right? So anybody on Section 8, you know, shit, you can get rent for free. All right. So now that that's clear, right? You understand that only families are required to report income, right? And we understand the definition of family, right? And we understand that us being Union State citizens or non citizens, United States nationals, we're not required. We don't fit the definition, so we're not required to report income. And if you watch my video on income tax, you know that we don't make income, all right? We don't make income. We ain't got income. What that is? I don't know what that is. I hope you don't know what that is, all right? So now I'm about to show you procedures. If you're already in housing, I'm gonna show you the procedures, the proper procedures, right, to go through, so you can have a grievance hearing, right? First is going to be an informal grievance, right? All right, hold on 1 second, real quick. All right, so if you're already in housing, right, this is what one of your letters supposed to say when they asking for rent, all right? When you behind on rent and they're saying you owe or something like that, they got to put this on a statement as well, right? Pursuant to the Fair Housing Act, right, 42 U.S.C. 3601 through 3619, if you are a federally assisted housing uh, applicant, program applicant, or resident with a disability, you may request an exception, change, or adjustment to a rule, policy, practice, or service that may be necessary to afford you an equal opportunity to participate, right? To participate, damn, and the program, right? Now, not only that, right? It's not. All right, not only that, hold on. All right, not only that, right? You also, let me see real quick. So there's a grievance procedure, right? All right, so right here, right, 24 CFR subpart B, right, grievance procedures and requirements. Let's go to purpose, right? The purpose of this subpart is to set forth the requirements, standards, and criteria for a grievance procedure to be established and implemented by public housing agencies to ensure that a public housing authority tenant is afforded an opportunity for a hearing if the tenant disputes within a reasonable time any public housing authority action or failure to act involving the tenant's lease with the public housing authority or public housing authority regulations which adversely affect the individual tenant's rights, duties, welfare, or status, right? Status. So you want to go through the grievance procedure if you are in housing, right? Bang, this is how you do it. And let's go through it, right? Let's go through it real quick. Applicability, right? The PCHA grievance procedure shall be applicable, right, to all individual grievances as defined in section 966.53 of this subpart between the tenant and the public housing authority, right? And then they got all this. I'm gonna let y'all read all this. I'm not gonna read all this, all right? I'm not gonna read all this. So, the public housing grievance procedure shall not be applicable to disputes between tenants not involving the public housing authority or to class grievances. The grievance procedure is not intended as a forum for initiating or negotiating policy changes between a group or groups of tenants and the public housing authority's board of commissioners. All right. So, y'all got to do this individually. All right. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Requirements, right? Each public housing authority shall adopt a grievance procedure affording each tenant an opportunity for a hearing on a grievance as defined in section 966.53 in accordance with the requirements, standards, and criteria contained in this subpart, all right? So all you got to do, right, is write a letter, right, pursuant to, let me see, right, pursuant to section or pursuant to the Fair Housing Act, right, you request a grievance proceeding, right? That's all you gotta do. You request a grievance proceeding to to request you requesting a grievance proceeding, right? For an exception, change, or an adjustment to a rule, policy, or practice or service that is affecting, right? That is affecting, all right? Hold on. Let me go right here real quick, right? That is affecting your rights and status, right? Or it could be affecting your duties as well. It could be affecting all this, right? And all you gotta do is explain how it's affecting all this. Explain what you're not, right? So with that being said, you gotta let them know, and the grievance is going to be an informal grievance first, right? An informal grievance is first. Let me see, right? Right? Informal settlement of a grievance. So any grievance shall be personally presented, either orally or in writing, to the Public Housing Authority office or to the office of the project in which the complainant resides so that the grievance may be discussed informally and settled without a hearing. A summary of such discussion shall be prepared within a reasonable time, and one copy shall be given to the tenant, and one retained in the PCHA's Public Housing Authority's tenant file. The summary shall specify that the names of the participants, dates of meeting, the nature of the proposed disposition of the complaint, and the specific reasons therefor, and shall specify the procedures by which a hearing may be obtained if the complainant is not satisfied, right? So this is an informal settlement of grievance. So pursuant to this section right here, you will request an informal grievance first. And if things are not settled within an informal grievance, right, and then they will send you a letter uh, of the results of the informal grievance, and then based on that letter, you'll request for a formal grievance pursuant to the procedures governed by the rules here, right? And 24 CFR section 966.56, right? Now, right, this is all the things you need to know in a formal grievance, right? The right to be represented by counsel or other person chosen as the tenant's representative, and to have such person make statements on the tenant's behalf. So anybody can represent you, right? It ain't got to be no attorney. And the definition of counsel doesn't mean attorney. It doesn't mean lawyer, right? Counsel can mean anything, right? However, an attorney is within a definition of counsel. But counsel doesn't just describe an attorney or lawyer, it could describe something else as well, right? So they can't deny you that right. So, I mean, I could even represent you in a formal grievance procedure, not in an informal. These are rules laid out for a formal hearing, right? That's going to be heard before a hearing officer. Now, an informal grievance is not heard before a hearing officer, right? Only a formal grievance is. So that's something you need to know, and you need to read this section right here. Fully read it, right? And you need to know. You need to lay down the relief you seek, right, within the grievance as well. So hold on, let me see, right? Or well, in the informal grievance, you want to let them know the relief you seek in that as well. All right. So with that being said, before you even get to an informal grievance, I mean, when you're in an informal grievance, right? And if you get denied any demands in an informal grievance, you request a formal grievance, right? This is the words you want to use. You want to let them know, right? In a letter, when you write into them, that all right, hold on. This is what you want to let them know, right? 1 second. Man, goddamn, what the hell? Where's that? All right, definitions right here, right? And your and your grievance, right? You want to let them know you are not an applicant within the meaning described in this section right here, right? You are not considered an elderly family or a family within the definition described here. You want to let them know, and these grievances, they can't call you none of these terms, all right? None of these terms. Or they will be operating under the color of law, all right? You want to let them know that as well, right? A grievance, right? Any dispute which a tenant, right, made with respect to public housing. So you're not considered a tenant, right? You're not considered a complainant, right? You gotta let them know in this letter. They can't call your tenant. They can't call you the complainant, right? 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 Because this is what tenant means. And it shall mean the adult person or persons, right? Nah, you're none of these terms. So in a grievance, don't let them call you none of these terms, right? Don't let them call you none of this. All right? That's what you need to know. All right? Let them know, like, if they call you any of these terms, they're in violation. Yeah, it's gonna be funny. All right, moving forward. Let me see. Let me see, man. I mean, I think we got it right. So you understand that you are not required to report income, right? You understand the grievance procedures for those who already live in housing, right? You understand the grievance procedures, right? How to get all your money back, right? And how not to pay rent because only tenants pay rent and only families are required to report income. So tenants, it says in your lease, it says the tenant needs to pay rent, right? But you're not a tenant, right? You don't fit the description of a tenant. So therefore, you ain't got to pay rent. And only those who are required to report income are families, right? You don't fit that description either. So you ain't required to report income, and you don't even make income, right? You don't make income. So therefore, you know, yeah, yeah, get that free rent, man. All right, what else? Now, for those who's not in housing that are that choosing to apply for housing, right? Let's go over this right here, right? I want to go over something with y'all. All right. Where's that? Where's that? Right. Right here. Right. 42 USC Section 3604. Discrimination in the sale or rental of housing and other prohibited practices, as made applicable by Section 3603 of this title and except as exempted by Sections 3603B and 3607 of this title. You gotta find out. You gotta find out what these mean. I haven't researched this, so whatever I'm saying here, except as exempted, you gotta. I don't know if it's exempt. All right, so that's all I'm saying. All right, to refuse, it shall be unlawful to refuse to sell or rent after the making of a bona fide offer, or to refuse to negotiate for the sale or rental of, or otherwise make unavailable or deny a dwelling to any person because of race, color, religion, sex, family status, or national origin, right? Right? We are Union State nationals, right? We are non-citizen nationals, right? We are not of the district state. So if they deny us because we don't have income and we are not of the district state, which these misnomers don't apply to us, they probably try to deny us, right? That's crazy. But we could sue them for denying us, right? Yeah, we could sue them. And I guess you could read the rest of this stuff, right? Down here as well to see if it applies for the situation. But yeah, so this is the discrimination law for housing urban development. All right. So you can see if this applies to you. Now, during the grievance procedure, let me get back to the grievance procedure. Those who already have been paying, right? Now, this is what it is, right? Civil money penalties against Section 1437F against owners, right? So when you go down here, right? Violation. All right. A penalty may be imposed under this section for a knowing and material breach of a housing assistance payments contract, including the following: failure to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing pursuant to Section 8, right? I guess that's Section 8. Or knowing or willful submission of false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements or requests for housing assistance payments to the Secretary or to any department or agency of the United States. Knowing or willful submission of false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements, right? So, by them submitting, allowing you to submit misnomers, right, to the housing agency, right? Because they knowing and willfully, you know, subjecting you to these misnomers. These housing agencies, right? They supposed to know the law, right? Everybody, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So by them furnishing these applications, right, with full of misnomers, misrepresenting you, and then by them submitting it, right, to the secretary, right, for housing assistance payments because they get payments, right? They are guilty. They are guilty. You feel me? Each time you submit when you go for a recertification packet, right? Each year is a violation, right? So that would be $25,000 per violation each time they submitted an application. All right. So yeah, you could get them for this right here: knowing and willful submission of false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements. Right? I don't know. That's how I would see it, but maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm bugging. Who knows, man? Hey, if you could make it work, make it work. All right, make it work. All right. So with that being said, right, you could also get them. You could also get housing or the agency, right, which in whichever county you are living out of, right. You could also get them for 18, right, USC, right. They're in violation of this too, right? Make or use any false writing or document knowing the same to contain any material, false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements or entry, right? And they causing you to be subjected to all this. They know these misnomers don't apply to you, but they still subjecting you to it, right? Yeah. So yeah, get them for whatever you can, right? Uh, it's your job to study, and what more can I say? You gotta apply the law the best way you can. Remember the First Amendment: express yourself. All right. You're only as good as you. Uh, you only can be as great or as good as you can express yourself. Right. Express yourself from the soul. All right. You got a soul. Your soul is connected to this divine higher power, right? We all connected to this divine higher power, this higher self, right? So connect yourself to that and let that guide you through your processes, all right? So with that being said, it's probably more to be said, but I'm an hour in right now, so I'm gonna conclude here. I gave enough information. I prove, you know, that these terms don't apply to the Union States or to non-citizen nationals of the United States. That's all I'm here to do is, I already showed you a procedure how you could go about and get your remedy, right? It's up to you to make it work. Now, if you need a consultation, you need more form and all that. Maybe I can help. Who knows, right? I think I can help. All right, yeah, I'm gonna conclude here. All right. So you already know the motto, right? Stay vigilant and prosper. Love and peace. One.